Are you stuck on the same weight, wondering if you'll ever hit your natural limit? The good news is you haven't. You've just been tracking progress the wrong way. I'm going to show you a simple progression method that prioritizes rep quality over weight, and the key is to unlocking new gains. Hi, my name is Boris Kish. I'm an IFBB license coach, professional nutritionist, and the super heavyweight bodybuilding competitor in the over 100 kilo category, which is over 220 pounds on stage. I'm 6'4" tall, which is 193 centimeters. Welcome to my channel. Now let's divide this basically into 6 easy rules. I'm going to tell you that number 5 is going to be the most important, but I highly suggest that you stay with me till the number 5, till the end, pardon, because they're all extremely important. I mean, if you don't have patience to wait for it, if you really want to get the number 5, you know, I always put in my description every chapter, so you can go there, but honestly it doesn't make sense before I tell you everything. So as I said, it's really highly recommended for you that you stay till the end. Number 1 is progress naturally slows down. So you have to understand, I mean, when you were a beginner, everybody who is a beginner pretty much grows even from cardio, right? But you know, later on, when you progress, when you put some size, when you put some mass, when you increase those weights, it's completely natural that the progress slows down, and that you're not growing and putting plates on the bar and grabbing dumbbells as you were before. But of course there is a solution to that, so don't be worried about that. I mean, how can I explain you this in the easier way? The weight doesn't have to jump every week for you to see the progress. And usually this is where most of the people get stuck. That doesn't mean that, you're simply not progressing, but you're, how can I say, calculating, measuring progress in the completely wrong way. And if you want to take your training to the next level, I've made completely free 3 training splits. Link is below. I'll send them straight to my email, to your email, pardon. Number 2 is also extremely important thing, and this is obsession with weight over quality. And I want to tell you that I'm pretty aware that there are influencers, YouTubers, colleagues, how can I call them, competitors. I don't see them as competitors. I don't compete with anybody. I always try to tell my version of the highly popular topics that are out there. But you have people who are telling you, just focus on the weight, natural has to lift as much as possible, not only natural, enhanced also, which is stupid. And then again, you have also people who are focusing on the quality, they say the weight doesn't matter. The only important thing is how you do those reps. And honestly, we will get into that. I mean, the huge problem is that too many lifters are obsessed with weekly progressive overload, logging numbers, putting plus 2.5 kilos, plus 5 pounds, right, 1 rep more. And when you see that this doesn't work over time, you get fucked, let's be honest. And you neglect the real growth drivers that are also volume, execution, stability, pump, and fatigue management. I mean, in other words, don't chase weight, chase muscle, and I want to tell you, we will get to that. I completely understand that probably since you found my channel, you also want to be strong, and I like to be strong as well. When I started going to the gym, my goal was also to be strong, and I believe that, synonym for a real man is that he's also strong and functional, not only with big pumped up muscles, and I say that as a bodybuilder, that are completely without functional. So I'm always combining this hybrid approach system, But then again, this rule is that you don't go to the extreme, that you don't just chase weight on the bar. Do you understand? I mean, between the load increases, your focus should be also on quality. Do you understand that you're able to do those reps with as much quality as possible, filling out reps, improving form, building control, and repeatable strength. That's real progress, not just a number on the plate or on the dumbbells. Number 3, let's go a little bit more into that, and those are extremes. You know, you have two extremes. The ones, as I told you, that are just chasing, you know, the weight, the other ones that are chasing the form. And as I told you, I strongly believe that the key is the middle, the sweet spot, you know. I mean, how can I say, if you just think about this logically, you're smart enough. The one group that chases weights only, form breaks down. And yes, I'm fully with that as someone who really like to chase weight, and I still like to chase weight. I'm guilty of that. I'm going to, you know, confess this to you. And the other one trains with perfect technique, but uses weight that are too light to create a real stimulus. Do you understand? I mean, listen, I will tell you the truth. You know, I currently am living in Vienna, Austria, you know, not currently, since 2007, but originally I'm from Serbia. I never saw one super heavy bodybuilder, speaking about competitor, who was really big and huge, over 100 kilo category, who was not as strong as an animal. Do you understand? So it's also really important that you're strong, but that doesn't mean no matter what, you know. So we're trying to find the balance. I mean, I am showing you what the balance is, and we'll get even into more of that a bit later. I mean, the truth is in the middle, right? You need both load and quality. You know, strength is a base, not just something to chase, you know, at all cost, you know, in every possible session. Number 4, before we get to the number 5, you know, that's probably the best rule in this whole episode. Number 4 is adaptation takes time. What does that mean? So let's be honest. I mean, if you are chasing number 6, let's say 6 repetitions on the bench press, you're probably not going to do them super correct, right? That doesn't mean, of course, that you are next time supposed to chase for 7 repetitions or even put a little bit weight on the bar. So what's the sweet spot? The sweet spot, if you're natural, non-natural, as I said, I'm not going to sound like a hypocrite. This video is for naturals, but even if you're not natural, somebody who was taking stuff for a long time, for example, like me, you cannot increase the weight that fast unless you're really 100% natural and you decide to take something for the first time. Of course, that I'm not suggesting in this video, but if you are, then you might grow like and put a lot of strength in a short period of time. But unless this is the case, it's not going to happen. So what's the solution? If you do those 6 repetitions, really focus that you get up to 7, 8, 9, 10, slowly but surely, at least for another month. And you know, also, how can I tell you, look that those 6 repetitions or more are completely with clean, how can I tell you, with the clean movement, you know, that you do them as clean as possible. Again, that doesn't mean that you should really fully focus only on the form, but you know, you have to earn the progressive overload increase of the weight. And this should really take, let's say, roughly, as I said, depends how long are you in the gym, have you been injured, are you giving your maximum, roughly 1 month, okay? But the most important thing is, you know, you don't look blindly on the calendar, you know, like straightforward, you know, like a horse that's, you know, on the street. I like horses, have nothing against horses, but you know, you have to look your recovery conditions, just using as a metaphor. Sleep, nutrition, stress, and overall recovery. Do you understand? If you, how can I say this in English? If you really did all of that perfectly for the whole month, you had at least 3, 4, 5 decent meals, 300 grams of protein, you slept 7 hours per day, you're taking creatine, you're taking nitric boosters, you're taking glutamine, you're taking minerals, you're taking vitamins, then you should give yourself permission to increase the load in a month. But that doesn't again mean that you have to look blindly for that 1 month, but just that you give yourself enough time, you know. But also you have to understand, I mean, if you don't increase the weight, you're not going to build more muscle. If you increase weight every time, you're just going to get hurt. You have to have some kind of logbook, if not on paper, at least on the head. I have it on the paper, you know, but doesn't have to be strict like a Mr. Olympia or IFBB Pro, so that you don't forget that you have to increase weight from time to time. So again, I'm going to tell you roughly in a month. If it happens in 2 months, it's okay. If it happens in 3 months, it's also okay. But you know, just that you don't forget what you're doing. I mean, if you always do, as Ronnie said, Ronnie Coleman in his video, what you always did, you will always get what you always got, you know. But again, sweet spot, balance, not that you overkill yourself. Comment below the lift where you finally broke a plateau. What that one number you never forget, you know. I remember, you know, for me it was really, you know, in the hometown when I was living in Serbia, pretty much probably everywhere, right? Even where you live, the synonym for male's power in the gym was how much can you bench press, right? I mean, and for me, it was extremely important to lift 100 kilograms at least 6 times, you know. And I achieved that, to be honest with you, as a natural lifter, but I'm tall, you know, so I already had like 110 kilos when I did that. That's around 250 pounds, I think, you know, because I'm tall. And when I did that, I think I started going to the gym at 17. So I think I did that with like 18 years. I felt like I was the king of the world, you know. That was my, you know, like huge, you know, stepstone. And then when I was able to lift 150 kilograms on the bench, that's around 320 pounds, I think, plus minus. That was like a huge stepstone. And I always wanted to lift 200 kilograms at least 8 times on the bench press. I think that's around 450 pounds. But honestly, I mean, it was never my life's goal, one of the wishes, but I was never, you know, able to do that. And as I said, please write me what you think about this and the number that you got and when and how. Finally, number 5, you know, rotation. Key angle. So what to do if basically nothing works? You have to also be honest to yourself and to understand that. And I'm going to confess, you know, I'm also guilty at that. You know, for example, you go to the bench press, you see 150 kilos, you give yourself, you know, I don't know, task that you have to lift 160 kilos 6 times or 170 in another 1, 2, 3 months. And you fail, right? For example, you can also take steroids and you fail. And then you get fucked and you see, oh my God, I'm old, this doesn't work, fuck the gym, a progressive overload doesn't work, you know, and might happen that you even quit. And this is, you know, because a lot of lifters are stubborn, as I was, and then you fully lose the motivation. I mean, you focus your whole, you know, workouts, your whole going to the gym, how can I say, meaning of for just lifting the more weights on the bench press, that's not going to do anything, right? You know, so what's the solution? I will tell you honestly what worked for me, okay? So when you see that you want to do an exercise that is not really progressing as a progressive overload, forget it. Honestly, that's the solution. Listen, forget it and do something else. There are shitloads of other exercises, for example, for the chest in the gym and on the internet that you haven't done. Do them, apply progressive overload, that, or my 10-8-6-6 system that I was explaining in one of my previous videos. And this way you will be able to progress in, for example, I gave telling you hypothetically in chest exercises by doing something else, you know. You don't have to do like a retard 3, 4, 5 same exercises for the rest of your life. It's not a mistake. I'm not telling you that you have to change your exercise every 2-3 months. It's also not a solution. But don't, you know, get stuck into the mindset that, you know, chest development is only measured by how much you do on the bench press. So the solution, as I said, do something else. Leave bench press if it's needed for 6 months, leave it for a year, do something else. And then when you come, yes, of course, it will be, you will not be maybe as strong as you were before, because you know the body forgot that movement, but you will get where you were before like super quick, because you're fully trained. It's not a muscle memory, it just has to remember and activate those fibers. And because you were progressing in other exercises, I'm guaranteeing that you will be 10 or 20% even stronger on that exercise. Again, let's say on bench press, after 1 year, because you completely left it. Then if you were forcing it like a maniac for the whole year and you got fucked, you know, and completely depressed, you know. And of course, do you understand? I mean, progression doesn't exist only on one barbell. And if you found this helpful, do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button for more real, no fluff fitness advice, and I really appreciate it. Number 6 is the mental trap. I have to tell you that we already covered this in the number 5, but there are some things that we didn't, so I'm going to tell you. You know, the mental trap is, you know, as I said, if you're not able to move the weight that you wanted, you can get into depression, you can get into anxiety, and you can leave gym forever. Do you understand? So this is the problem, that because you're simply going to fuck up yourself psychologically, because the weight is not moving and the bar is not going anywhere. Simply rotate and come back stronger. Do you understand? I mean, and I want to hear your thoughts on this topic, and if you have any questions for me, feel free to fire them in the comments, you know. And the final conclusion, as I would say, the core takeaway: don't measure progress only through weight, don't chase load every week, give your body time, build, you know, quality sets between, you know, the weight increases. Rotate exercises when you stall. And if you want to learn the exact numbers that every natural lifter must lift, click right here and I'll see you there.